Welcome back. In this video, I'm going to talk about perhaps one of the most important times of the year for you as an aspiring sportscaster, and also one of the most important things you can do right now to help your career progression. And I mean right now, as we're in this wonderful Christmas season, I'm going to talk about something that you can do and why it's so important. If I haven't met you, I'm Rick. Welcome to the Sportscasters Club online program here on YouTube. Also, we stream on podcasts. And this time of the year is obviously very special. And all of the things that go with it. The Christmas season, it's so much more than, obviously, so much more than gifts and parties and all of that. So the real meaning of Christmas is obviously the most important thing. But if we're talking today about sportscasting and your sports broadcasting career, I want to tell you some of the things that I did at this particular time of the year, and I'm certainly not alone. And these things, in fact, this one particular approach had an immense impact on my career. But before I get to that, I want to tell you a quick story which will tie into it. I remember Christmas Day about 20 years ago. Well, I guess I've gotten a lot older than I think. I've told this to many broadcasting students over the years, and I would say that 20 years ago, but now it's more like 30 years ago. I was home and I get a call from a buddy, and he said, NBC Sports in New York City needs someone to fill in on their NFL broadcast today, cutting highlights for their NFL broadcast. Would you like to work for NBC today? Can you go and fill in for him? I had never worked for NBC before. Obviously, I was a huge sports fan. I went to Fordham University in New York City, but I was home on break. And I get this call from my buddy, and I was shocked. Immediately, I said yes. I said, who do I have to contact? Where do I have to go? And I took that job that day in New York City. I got myself on a train, got to the city, and it turned out to be wonderful. What I did when I worked for NBC and then eventually ABC as well, and I think CBS for a period, was I would just sit in front of a TV watching the game and notating when in the game certain highlights happened. Jerry Rice caught a touchdown pass, I would notate it. Dan Marino threw an interception, I would notate it, the timestamp. So then I would work with the highlight operators, the technicians, and they would go in, cut that clip. So then on the NFL show, Bryant Gumbel would read it, or Mike Ditka, or whoever was there. They would read the highlights at halftime and then after the games. And these were all the behind the scenes roles that college students like myself or some of the paid professionals that were there, that was their role. So as a college student aspiring to be in sports media, that was a wonderful job. And that ended up being something that I did for a few years through my college time, and I think even a little bit after my time at Fordham, all because I said yes on that Christmas day. So I always remember that story. And I like to tell it because I was so focused and so determined that I was going to do that. Now, obviously, I was young, I was single, I didn't have a wife, I didn't have a girlfriend, I didn't have kids, so I could just go. Maybe my family, my parents, my extended family weren't too happy about it, but I was 19 years old at the time, probably 18, 19. So number one, that's a great lesson to learn about being dedicated and being ready to do whatever you need to do to build your career. But that's not really what I meant to talk about in this video. In this video, I want to take that dedication and talk about what you can do now in this time of the year, this Christmas season, to boost your career. As everyone knows, it kind of quiets down at this time, particularly between Christmas and New Year's. There's that week. A lot of businesses are slow. A lot of industries are quiet. A lot of people have time off, whether they're students employees, business owners, corporate America, a lot of people are home. And it's quiet, it's relaxed. This is the particular time of year where I always found it very beneficial to take some time and reflect on my career. Not only the year that just passed, but look ahead to the year and the years ahead. And this was a strategy that I really refined and honed over the years, based on the advice from the great and the late Dan Miller, who hosted the 48 Days podcast. He wrote the wonderful book, 48 Days to the Work You Love. And Dan passed away a couple years ago now. He was a wonderful mentor, even though I've never met him, although I did visit his hometown where he lived, Franklin, Tennessee, with my girls. We spent a half a day, got some lunch in Franklin, Tennessee when we were visiting Nashville, so that was a lot of fun. This was 3-4 years ago. But Dan Miller always talked about using this time, even starting in November, to set goals for the next year and to start planning not only your year, but your career path a year, 3, 5 years out. And this has always been something that I did as a sports broadcaster, as an aspiring sports broadcaster, because it gave me some clarity to step back. It's not such a busy time of the sports year. I was always heavy in baseball, broadcasting professional baseball as a college student. So this time of the year was somewhat slow for me, even when I got into the time broadcasting for Army basketball, hockey, helping with the Army football broadcasts. This was a quiet time. And so taking that week and thinking about, what do I want my next year to be? Where do I want to be in 12 months? What contacts do I need to make between now and then? What things have to be true about myself as a professional to help get me to where I want to be in 12 months? Who do I need to meet? What things do I need to do? What network do I need to build? And just taking that time to reflect on it made all the difference in the world. And I thought not only about this year, this 12 months, but I also thought about 3 years out, 5 years out, 10 years out. Not only what kind of broadcaster do I want to be and the skills that I need to be that type of broadcaster, but who are the people that maybe can help me along my journey? How do I connect with them? How do I become better? And how might my goals change? Because that certainly happened. I would think about, okay, maybe 3 years ago, I wanted to be this type of broadcaster in this type of market. And then now that's changed. So how do I look out 3 years, 5 years, and plan to be that kind of broadcaster? It's extremely helpful, because then I'm not going to start January doing what I've always done if my goals have changed. If my end zone has shifted, then hopefully my planning and preparation to get there is going to have to shift too. And that also includes the books you read, the content you consume. So for example, let's say you always wanted to be a studio host. You always wanted to be, or a talk show host. You're preparing in a certain way. And so let's say now I've shifted my career focus and said, you know what? I really think I want to do play-by-play for a professional baseball team. Obviously in the minor leagues, working my way up. So maybe my preparation for that is changing. I'm going to read different books. I'm going to network with different people. I'm going to consume different content because my goal is now changed. So obviously this is something you're going to do if you're effective and if you're proactively thinking about it. You're going to do this regardless of what industry you're in, whether you're running a business, whether you're in corporate America, whether you're a student in some other field, but specifically in terms of what we're here to talk about today. If you're a sports media professional, and if you're an aspiring sports media professional, you need to take this time, think about your goals, think about your career trajectory, and use this period, this quiet period as you're reflecting, over the Christmas season, use this period to plan and think and prepare. Because, as I've talked about and I mentioned earlier, the Christmas season is about wonderful, miraculous, eternal things. Thinking about the birth of Jesus, that's obviously so much more important than Christmas, or more important than sports broadcasting and getting a job. But we also want to keep our focus on our career and how we can be better at what we aspire to do. So I hope that's helpful. I hope you find it helpful. We've got a lot, obviously, at sportscastersclub.com. If you're not subscribed, if you didn't like this video, take a second, like the video, you'll get our next one, and subscribe, because that'll make sure you're connected with us and you'll get all of these videos we put out at sportscastersclub.com. Again, my name is Rick. Thanks for joining us. I wish you a Merry Christmas, and we'll talk to you next time.